Leaders, welcome to week 7 and the subject of discipleship. So discipleship is something many believers tend to learn, that we need to be discipled in order to grow in our relationship with Jesus. But then we struggle with this thought of, well, how does discipleship take place? And what does that mean for my life? And how does that happen in community, like your life group? So it's possible that some of you leaders will look back on your life and you're going to say, well, I've never been discipled by anybody, or I've never had that type of an experience. And so this week feels a little strange to you. But as a leader, I want to encourage you that you are discipling your group. That's what you're doing as a leader. Even if no one has ever taken the time to disciple you, you are getting that opportunity. And I want to remind you that God knew that this week was going to be happening, and He's put you in that place. So don't worry, you're going to jump into this, and it's going to be great as you work through this week with your group.
All right, so we are going to just give a simple definition of discipleship. This is the inward and the outward spiritual growth that comes as we disciples become more like Jesus. And it's not a one-time process, boom, you're done. This is a lifelong journey that we are on together. And so this is something that we are looking towards happening together in your groups. Yeah. We want discipleship to happen in community. And we pray that you and your people are challenging each other, you're walking next to each other, you're carrying each other's burdens, and just growing together in your relationship with Jesus and looking at what it means to be a disciple. This is something that is happening in your group because you are learning about and living the will of Christ. So as we jump into discussion time, we want you to focus on questions 1 and 2 from your first day of reflection. These are some really great questions that'll help people share where they're at in their personal discipleship that they may not have thought about before. And those answers might bring out other questions where each person becomes a teacher in one aspect to the rest of the group because new truths are presenting to themselves. So really, as leaders, be praying for one another that you'll all learn something new during this time.
So when you jump into the second day of reflection questions, we want to encourage you to go to questions 2 and 3. So as the leader, we want to challenge you to kind of process that and have an open mind when you go to these questions. And it could be that your group needs to take certain steps with spiritual practices or making a commitment to something that they've never done before. So there could be a variety of things that kind of pop up in this piece of your discussion time. And so I want to encourage you, like when we're looking at this, maybe decide as a group that you're going to take a certain time of day that you're going to stop whatever you're doing and you're going to pray. And everybody makes that commitment. Or you're going to choose to do the monthly reading plan that we have here at the church. It might be a way that you spend time talking about how you're going to use the gifts that each individual has for God's glory and to make an impact in other lives. Or you might need to be this person that helps make a connection for someone to a spiritual mentor. As you go through those questions, listen to what's being said, and we want to encourage you, take the step as a leader to challenge your people to take some new steps in their discipleship, and challenge people. Don't just allow things to go by quickly, but challenge the people so that we are a group of disciples here at the church that are constantly taking those steps to be more like Christ.
And when you get into day 3, it talks about reproduction, which is something we are all supposed to be doing as disciples. And I want you to be mindful. Some of us will face this temptation, the same one that I have, to say, I'm discipling people. I have 3 kids. And that's true, that's important, but really challenge your group to think outside the home so that they're really looking at who can I step into a discipleship relationship with and start meeting together. So all the questions for day 3 are really great to brainstorm out loud as a group, to kind of create some accountability and inspiration. We just recommend you take some time and encourage each people to respond and help them think through those steps and maybe you as a leader want to actually write down who they say or what their steps are, so that you can follow up on that and be praying for them in it. And then again, if you need a break or just to see you finish the spiritual discipline, take a look at that as a group. You'll want to make sure that you look at it as a leader before, because it can be a little intimidating, or just it's a little bit different. It's the spiritual practice of loving kindness, and at the surface it might look intimidating, so just make sure that you have walked through that as a leader. It's a repeated practice that people can take at several different days, and so walk through that if you have time. And we just want to continue using those disciplines so that we are growing and you're discipling people to use them to grow in their own lives.
Yeah, so as always, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We'd love to answer any questions or help you think through how you want to do some of this with your group. We're so thankful that you're leading through Flourish, and we will see you next week for week 8. See ya.